hard, and there's been a really interesting workflow scenario that was brought up that I want to duplicate here, and I'll walk through it first so you guys aren't going to have to like follow and do exactly what I'm doing, but after I'm done, we'll do one of those challenges, and you'll do something on your own. But for now, please just watch the screen and kind of follow along with this scenario, because it seems like it's not just a practical scenario, but it's something that will be a concern, not a concern, but a scenario that you guys will encounter quite often. And I want to make sure it's super clear how the cards and the media and those files, how everything works together. And just again, we're covering kind of the same thing over and over, but there have been questions introduced that are related to this, and I want to make sure we're all on the same page and it's crystal clear, and you guys are super comfortable with how everything's interconnected, especially since files, or what is also called media, is really just a reference and is more dynamic than, let's say, those images are. So I'm going to get started with the scenario of I'm going to add a new card on this card page, and I'm going to add a new file to it for the aircraft report. That was what the example that was being brought up, and I want to duplicate that. So please follow along here, and I'll get this started. So we're going to add our new card. So yeah, it's a new card. Nothing new here. And then for the files, I'm going to create a new file. And this new file, I'm going to name it aircraft report. And then I'm going to upload that file here. Click create media, and then save it. Oh, I should have clicked create card. Hey, good example. Oh, okay. Oh, thank God. So it actually saved it. If I was inside of a card that I for a link, I don't think it will change that. But since this was an entity, it actually created this. So I have my card, and I have a new file that I've created, a new media reference. And let's say we're going to use this new card on a new page. So to do so, we're going to have to create a whole new card page. So that's pretty simple. We go to content, add content, new card page. So this is a completely new card page. So we have a new card page, and all I need to do is add existing card. And what did I call that card? Yet another card or something like that? Yeah, yet a new card. So I added that card, and then I'm going to click save. So now in two places, and I kind of skipped this, but I'm going to go back and make sure I have a link, because it would be really hard to get to here unless I go to the content page. So I'm going to add this back into our navigation underneath predictive services. So it'll be a little bit easier to find. So this is my original card page that has my yet new card page, or yet a new card. And then I have my aircraft report, and here, same thing. Okay, so let's say this aircraft report is updated daily. There are different ways to update it, but the best way to update it, I would say, would be going to content and then finding it, and it's fairly easy because it was the last one I created, but I have to go to media to go to the actual media file. So this is my aircraft report. So this file is shared between those two cards and in those card pages. So if I click edit, I can now update this with a new aircraft report. So I'm not having to go to multiple places. I can just click remove and choose a new file. So this one I'm going to do, I did pluses before, I'm going to do dashes now to prove the point. Hit save. Okay, now if I go back to my pages, so I'm going to go back to the site in a new tab. And if I mouse over, I can see now they have the dashes. Now it's the new file. And then if I go back to the other page, mouse over, I can see down below at the bottom left, it's the new file with the dashes and not the plus sign. So, you know, that's really nice and convenient. And if you ever, so that should hopefully kind of clarify how that works. Another kind of possibly confusing part of this was when we added files via the bulk operation, so bulk uploading. So if we go back to media and go back to upload media in bulk, this step, when you rename it, only needs to be done once. So I'm going to go through this whole scenario over again. So I'm going to go back to my card. I'm going to remove that new one. Actually, let's keep it so I at least have like a container for it. But I'm going to remove. So we covered this on I think early-ish on day one. No, we didn't. I don't think we did cover this yet. Okay, so deleting. This was in my screencast. That's why it seems familiar. So deleting this file, you have two different options. You can remove the file or this reference from this card, or if you click this checkbox right here, go away sidebar, right here, this will actually remove it completely from the system. So this is a pretty important checkbox. If you want to completely remove it, and so no other cards that have referenced this will have access to it, then click this checkbox. If not, if you're just wanting to remove the reference, not the file, then uncheck this, and that's the default. Then click remove, and then you're okay. But for this example, I want to completely remove it from the site. I'm going to click save. So I have like a card that's empty, and then if I go back to my yet a new card, another card that's empty. I totally removed it from the system, and I did that on purpose, and that's why that's not checked by default.
To clarify, it doesn't delete it from the computer, or delete it from the web page.
Correct. Yeah. So like exactly. So if I go back to here, and this was so the browser, media browser, I can see it's actually been removed from the server, from the site, but locally on your computer, it's not touching any of that. It doesn't have any access to that. So yeah, you can still, like, if you have it on your machine locally, you can, like I do, I can re-upload it. Okay, so I'm set at kind of like at 0 now, and I want to, let's say, upload a bunch of files. So I'm gonna go to that bulk media upload. So this is another way of doing it. I did it the individual way. This way I'm gonna do the bulk upload way. So I'm gonna select the files, select my demo files, and click open, and it's just gonna quickly upload those, and then hit submit. And oh, someone brought up, yeah, you brought up, they so if you upload these, if you select them, and it'll automatically upload them. If you're like, oh no, I don't want to upload that one file, it's like you just might as well just refresh and not hit submit, and then it won't go through the process of creating that reference, because once you select those files, it's in the process now, and once you hit submit, it's going to upload and save those file references on the site. And now I'm going to go back to content and media so I can see what I uploaded. So I have, remember, those examples with all the 3 different scenarios, one with plus signs, one with spaces, one with underscore. So the question was, like, oh, this is kind of annoying. Like, I bulk upload these, and then I have to rename them. Do I have to rename them every time? No, you don't. You just have to rename this the first time. So, like, the first time you upload them through the bulk upload, then you go back to the media browser and kind of like clean up the file names. That's it. Then you're done with this. Then we can move on and connect them to a card. So I'm going to do that for this one. So this guy, I'm just going to clean it up by removing all those dashes and making the first letter caps and hit save. And you only need to do this once. And then now that I've done this, so let's say we had a bunch of files, we cleaned up their file names, or the kind of the title name for those file references. Now I can go back here to my cards and I can attach them to my cards. So I'm going to do it on this first new one and click edit, and then at the very bottom add existing and select entity, and then it's the last one because it was the first second to last one, I guess. This one. So that was the one that we want. I'm going to click add media, and then update card, and then save. I must have missed a step. Okay, hold on one sec. Let's try this over again. Edit. Add existing media. Select the entity. And it's the second to last one. This guy right here. Select the entity. And then I want to update card and save. There we go. Okay, so now we have our card page, and then we have, if we go back to the original card page, remember we added that here, or we're going to add that. So we're going to click edit, and let's go back to that original one, and I'm going to remove this. This is an old one. I'm not removing it from the system. I'm going to add existing, select entity, and then go back to the second to last page. Okay, now we have the entity. I'm going to update the card. Now they should match. Okay, cool. Now let's say that was the aircraft report. If we ever wanted to update the aircraft report, then we'd go back to media. That would update it everywhere, and it would be this one. So I'm going to click edit, and let's say this isn't exactly descriptive for an aircraft report, so we're going to rename this to aircraft report. And if you wanted to update the file, you can also update the file at the same time and click remove and change the file to this one, hit save. And even though I replaced that file reference with a different file that was named completely different, it doesn't matter. This title right here is only affected when you bulk upload, because when you bulk upload a bunch of files, it has no idea what they should be named. So it's just assuming, well, I'm just going to take the file name as the title and remove the extension, and then that's going to be the name. So that's it's the only context of what it should be called. So that's why it uses it as the name. But now once you start renaming this, it won't ever revert back to what it was before. Now it's in the system. We can call it whatever we want. I'm going to call it aircraft report. I've replaced the file without the one without spaces. And let's go back to our test page, our test cards, and make sure it's been updated. And I can see that it's been updated just fine. And mouse over, and I can see this is the one with spaces. So that's how it works with using a file that is interconnected with different cards on different pages. I mean, you could even have this referenced in a card that's on the same page if needed. There's no limitation for that. Does anyone have any questions about how this works? Go ahead.
Being interconnected to other cards and card pages, is there any way or feature to be able
instance,
Yeah.
I want to clean up a bunch of extra files that I put in there initially.
Not out of the box. But yeah, it's a good question. Let me, yeah. Is it? Oh yeah. Actually, hold on one sec. Let me. So in files, not in media. That's what you're referring to. Let me. So that's where it says used in places. So it's not in media, but in files, which files and media are different. But any piece of content, images, and PDFs, docs, whatever, that'll all go into files. Media is kind of a special flavor or version of files that can be referenced in different areas.
Capital count used in spot is exactly.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, I wonder, but I've never even. Okay, so these are the entities that they're actually used in. Let's see a different one. So, but this only says that's the entity. So that's the media that wraps around this file. It doesn't say the card. So, is that you're looking more for the card, right?
Not
Or this is this helpful too?
For instance, when I initially started working with it, I did some stuff that, after a couple weeks of messing with it, I decided I didn't want to do it like that. So I can now see, oh yeah, that was one of the ones that I never ended up using at all, and I'm ripping it out.
Okay, no, that's cool. Yeah, so it is helpful in that scenario where you might upload a piece of content and you can go in here and see that it's not being referenced anywhere, and then just safely remove it.
So, how connected are our web pages? Let's take the IMSR as an example. And I would imagine several of the geographic areas are going to link to the national IMSR on their website, right? Are all of those geographic areas going to have to upload the IMSR, or is it going to be able to be bridged across the content management system for everyone to access?
Okay, awesome question. So this dovetails right into the next thing we're going to be talking about, which is the scenario of having files that you're wanting or intending to have other sites linked to, and so this is our proposed workflow in how to safely link files or have other sites linked to you without having to worry about those, because once you replace that file, it will replace the actual file. But there is, with media, at least with media, it has this kind of like in between page that like holds the content. And to find that, so what I mean, and this totally doesn't make sense yet, but to get there, if you go to media in the browser, if I click on this link right here for aircraft report, it'll send you to a page that all it is a container, a static page or whatever that holds whatever this media reference is currently referencing to. So this file, as long as you don't, the problem is you can't change the title of it, because then it'll change this. But if you keep the title the same, you can have other sites refer to this link and safely download your content even after you change that file, unlimited times. It's not going to touch this link. It's going to touch this link. So if you send this link to someone, or if you use this link, it's always going to go to this page that has whatever file you have reference to. Because media, like I say reference because it's this container that is referenced between cards. And so this location that's being referred to, you can use this page, and as long as that title's not being changed, people can link to it. So you can have other sites link to it, or you can link to other sites that are using Drupal in this GACC and NIC sites without worrying about these files being changed. So I'm going to kind of prove that point right now. So going back to content, and we're going to media and aircraft report. So let's say, this is a daily thing that people are going to refer to this aircraft report to, and we want them to safely link to it without having to update that PDF link. And this is why media kind of creates those pages. And to do so, we're going to edit this media reference, this aircraft report. We're going to replace this file. So pay attention. This is example with spaces. So I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to choose a different file. I'm going to use the one with plus signs to kind of prove a point, and then click Save. And now if I go back to this page and hit refresh, bam. So you can upload any file here. And what I mean by any file, any document file. So it could be PDF, could be a doc file, but it doesn't have to be named the same. Now this is the nice thing. It doesn't have to be named, the file name doesn't have to be named the same every time, because this page is holding that file reference. And so with media, it gives you that in-between page. With the cards, I scripted it so it doesn't go to that page, because for your end user, it's annoying to go to this page and then click this link. It just automatically goes to the link. But this page is available and accessible by going to this media browser and clicking on this link here. So this media name, if I go here. But here's the thing. If I edit this reference and change the name of the file, so this is, aircraft report example, and hit save, this will change that page. So if you have something that you want people to link to that you're going to be continually changing that isn't unique, you kind of have to follow this convention by naming it and keeping that name forever, so people can safely link to your content. If it's a unique report, and so if it's a unique report, you're probably not going to be continually updating it. But if it's a unique report, then you probably won't be changing the name anyways. But this shows you if you ever want something to be commonly linked, like the IMSR report, name it something and leave it. Don't mess with that title, because other sites are depending on it. And if it's a consistent report, there's no need to change the title. It shouldn't be. But if you just keep that kind of convention, then people can safely go to this page, and you, as managing the site, you can keep changing the file. So the file you can keep changing it and not worried about that. It's the title that needs to stay the same. Does that make sense to everyone? Please raise your hand if this doesn't, because this is a super important concept that other sites, not just your site, but everyone else is kind of depending on you to understand this concept. So it's not just your site that's being dependent on understanding this concept. It's everyone else too that needs to make sure that everyone's following how this works. So we need to all be on the same page to make sure that we're following these conventions, to make sure that content's going to be safely linked. And we understand that we can still change the content. We just don't want to change the title.
So is that how you're able to count the hits on that?
Oh, the uses.
Right. For example, the aircraft report example.
Oh, you mean the uses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Because you have that set.
it's a container. Yeah, that wrapper. That's what it's.
Whatever. It just counts however many.
Well, no, it's not a counter like that. It's a usage. Yeah, but
Yeah, because it's time spent there and all that other stuff.
that would be more like Google Analytics would capture that. Yep, Steven.
So basically, back to Jeremy's question, is for all of us at the GACC level, just use a link to the NIC site with IMSR. That's fine as long as they don't change
The title. Yeah. And that's it. I mean, that's,
That's all it's
Same with the Mo guide, same with the national contract.
Yeah.
That's kind of the governance that we want to put out there, at least best practices, so that when we get down to tier 3 sites, we're just sending out, hey, link to the Mo guide, here's the link that you put in. Boom.
I think we're overthinking some of this stuff just because it's like we're not used to this.
well, it's, yeah, since we're using content management system, now we have this dynamicness that you never had the capability of tapping into without a database, because none of this would be possible without a database. And so when you're using a static site like Dreamweaver, you don't have that capability. But now we have all these nice, cool tools. But yeah, I definitely want to make sure that you guys are kind of being able to utilize it, but understand how it all works. But there is, yeah, it's great and it's helpful how media works. And we actually, when we first launched the first version of this, we didn't have media, and we quickly found out we needed media. So we quickly added this to your site, and it seems like if we didn't have it, we'd be really kind of screwed. So it was something that was super necessary for you guys to be able to utilize, and because this is like a library of files, and it seems like a lot of you guys have a ton of these files that need to be organized, and this gives you a method to organize them, but also be able to reference them and share them. And that you wouldn't be able to do that if we were just uploading individual files, because every time you upload a file, and if it's named the same, it'll rename it with an appended number. And like I talked to someone else about that here, and that just wouldn't work. So that's why like this page right here is a kind of a lifesaver if you just keep it named the same, so people can safely link to this page and be able to download the accurate content. Yes, please stick with it. Don't change. Okay, so now that I've shown you how that works with the aircraft report, I want you guys we have a new challenge. So I'm going to have you guys create a new card in your existing card page, and it's going to be referenced to a PDF that you can call whatever you want. I just use that aircraft report as an example. And then you're going to create a whole new card page, and then create a new card there, and then reference the file that you created on that other card. So exactly what we did 2 times in the example I showed you before. And you can, if you want to use the bulk upload, that's fine. It's just the end result has to be, you have to have a new card in your existing card page with your new file, and then a new card page with obviously a new card that's referencing what you've already uploaded. Does that all make sense? Yeah? Okay, good. If it doesn't, let me know. Raise your hand and I can walk you through it as well.
A new card, and then make a new card page so it'll be in 2 places.
Yeah,
Card,
exactly.
a new card will put it
Yeah.
in.
Take a break at 2, so
Mhm.
about 45 minutes,
Yeah.
so you can go back
Go.
and hop
Oh yeah,
on that
because
call
that's
with-
our call. That's right. Yeah.
Right, so-
Okay.
And
Cool.
whatever, I'll just give them 15-minute break. I don't think your call will take more than 15 minutes.
Yeah. We'll come back.
Yep.
Have you talked to Ryan?
Yeah, I think he's close, man.
He's close. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, you might
Yeah. I'll
go
talk
talk
to
the
him when I'm there.
language with him.
Yeah. No, that's
2
fine.
o'clock, right?
Yeah. That'll work.
make sure I got this right. Create a new card underneath the existing card page that links to
A new one, a new file that you upload.
new file.
And then you're gonna go create a new card page, new card, and refer the existing file that you previously created. Yep. So you should only upload that file once. That's our challenge.
I mean, in theory, we should, there's a lot of stuff that should be put up one place and then to actually enforce the resolution. No, I know, I'm asking, do we need to add it? Do we need to
So it doesn't matter which pace we make the new card, just as long as we share it together.
Yeah, you really only want to upload the file once, and then and then add it to that card in the existing page, and then create a new card page, and then a new card, and then refer to the file that you've already uploaded. But you feel it's okay.
I feel like it's just content.
That's, yeah, that's what I was like, oh, that actually.
Okay, so, is everybody working on something?
Yes.
But really quick, so going back to the global content linking stuff, Brent just found a way to basically not make it name determinate, to where it's just the content ID. So the content ID is the system generated token for that piece of content. So it would be, and that never changes. So if you change the name, doesn't matter. The content ID will always remain static. So how do we feel as a group? Do you want to keep it as a naming convention where we do the names and stick to that, or do you want to maybe do it as the content ID, which will never change?
Yes, content ID.
And then you'll have the flexibility to change the name. Yeah, and so that was just, yeah, something I found that, you know, that's kind of a workaround that will give you that flexibility. And to find that, so if we go back to the content media browser, if I go to the page, or actually the easiest way is to go into edit. So I click edit, and the ID is right here. So it says node, and then it shows the ID, and then edit, and then this is just a parameter passed on. But if I delete everything after the ID, so 558 oh wait, that's my, hold on one sec. Let's go back. I went to media, yeah. Same thing. If you go here, click edit, and then media, remove everything after that number. This ID now gives me the aircraft report. So if I change this back to aircraft report, just to prove that this works, because we always want to do that, and hit save. And then if I go back to edit and then delete the /edit, going back to that ID still is 5776. So that hasn't changed for this media file.
So how does an external, like if somebody's working on their GACC page and they're looking at the NIC page without being logged into the NIC page,
How do they find that?
find that?
Good question. I don't think you. That's the. Yeah, you kind of have to be logged in to find that.
So I think we're gonna have to stick with the name.
Well, I mean,
The name you can't get to it. You can't get to the spot.
yeah,
if you're
that's
not
the.
logged
Yeah,
in.
if you're not logged in, you can't really find out what that ID is, because like if you're not logged in, you don't even know that this page even exists. That's the other thing. Like, we also have to understand that if we go to like any card page, so I'm going to open up this in Cognito. So I'm not logged in. I shouldn't be logged in. If I am, I'll log out. Okay, so I'll log out. So this, if I go to my card page, this is what the end user is going to see is all these files. And if I click on it, it jumps right to, oh, this is a old one. Let me do there we go. So this is the file. That's what they're going to see. They're not going to see the ID or anything else, not even that page in between, because it jumps directly to this file. We talked about it for user reasons. Like, you don't necessarily want to go to that page and then click that link lets you to go to this. Like, that's kind of annoying for your users. But it's a good question though. Like, so.
So that's where part of it's going to have to rely on, you know, us as a group to coordinate this with, you know, your tier 3s in between the NIC to the IMSR report. You share that content ID and say, add this if you want a link to it.
Change the tag. You only have to do that once too. So, change the name. I mean.
Yeah.
And if you do the
The
ID.
name's going to be a lot more meaningful to a user than some random number. So.
Okay.
How do our cooperators and people outside of the dispatch community link to us?
Well, they'll just link to the PDF, because they're not using
They
Google.
can.
Oh, yeah, anybody can.
Yeah, because they're gonna just go there and go, oh, this is the link, and then copy it.
I think it's fine.
I'm wondering. So
So just content name.
we don't want to, and we don't want to like reintroduce that kind of like landing page for the content again. Like I don't really like it either, but like, is that a valid point to?
The only option is reintroducing the landing page. So that instead of going straight to the content, it goes to the landing page. So it adds
So
a link.
yeah, go here.
Oh,
Yeah, no one likes that, but
Okay.
that's why we removed it.
Have to click and then click again to give a traffic with the name.
Yeah, we'll just, okay, so we'll go back. It's just going to be the name. We just have a good naming convention, and you just share those, not the ID. Perfect.
Good to know.
And then again, so from the outside, they're only seeing the PDF.
Yeah, so you have to deliver them, like you have to send them a link that you want them to use.
So I've got a question, Brent. So for the IMSR, with the management situation report, every day you re-upload it as NIC, it's going to connect over to the PDF.
Right. But if we use that in between page, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, you're not gonna be uploading it to your card, you're uploading it through that media link.
Yeah.
Where you remove the old one and put the new one up, and that's what replaces the content.
And the user will not see that intermediate page. They will
What
go
about-
right to the PDF.
What about the GACs? And I'm talking specifically to the GAC people. Is that okay with them? You're going to do the same thing, and that's fine?
Yeah, we're gonna link right to you.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the IMSR. I'm talking about for your own internal documents. Your
Yes,
daily-
and keep the naming convention the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Has everyone been able to?
Jay, hold on a second. Jay, what do you think?
Well, I have 50 to 100 PDFs that load a day because they're ROS documents. I can't do this. There's no way I can get this bulk them out of there and replace the one that's. So I either have to eliminate that process or go outside. The hundreds exaggerated, but it's quite a few.
What do you think, Brent?
So are these small PDFs, and are they related? Like if someone needs these PDFs, could we zip them together and then deliver one zip file? Like, or are people going to individual reports or PDFs?
They're going to
Individual?
individual.
They don't want to download a zip that has everything. And that's every day you upload 100 PDFs?
Yeah, well, it's not, hundreds exaggerated.
Okay.
It's
Oh.
probably more like 40 or so.
Well, I mean, that's still a lot.
It's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, 40 is a lot.
Right now, I set up an automated process to do that using curl to push it up to
Yep.
the web.
Yeah,
But since I can't use that, I'm going to do this process. According to what I've seen so far, you can't do that unless you do individual.
no,
You
it's not.
overwrite individual ones.
How long will that take you to do?
How long would it take me to do 40 of those?
Yeah.
I don't know, I haven't tried it yet.
Well, I can show you how to do 40 right now, and I can show you how long it takes. Like we can do 40. Like I'll show you 40. I'll just duplicate what I have.
I mean, we gotta make this work, so I wanna see this.
You can time me.
Is the CIO or the CIOs even copacetic with us really doing curl scripts and stuff anymore anyway? I think, haven't they pushed us away from that pretty hard? CIO?
Okay, we have 48 now.
We don't do it anymore at Nick because of that.
Yeah,
They don't like it when it's not good.
right. And so my question is like, is that a system that's gonna be phased out anyway because of security procedures?
Yes.
created our card, they looked all 5, they're all 5 there. So we went in and uploaded 5 more to overwrite, see if it would overwrite the ones from yesterday. It didn't do it.
It won't do that.
Yeah,
It definitely won't
exactly.
do that. You have to go to the reference to,
I know, that's
yeah,
what I'm saying. So
yeah,
you have to do it each one, remove it and upload it, and then remove it, upload it, you gotta do that for.
yep.
To hit edit and then set the file that it's-
Yeah,
yeah,
each one, that's the,
That's the tedious part.
yeah, it takes care of it.
You could just bulk upload and then it replace those files that it's linked and now it's just as fast as scroll.
Yeah.
We could get a firewall account, just upload to a FireNet drive where they paste over the names. So the links will never change, you just update the files in the FireNet drive.
But you'd have to have access to FireNet drive, right?
You just have to submit a request to Family Feed via FireNet.
Oh, it's linked to it on the FireNet.
Because if the names never change, it'll just update the document and keep it published or whatever you want.
That would be a pain.
So it'll take that off the server and put it into another container. I mean,
Like within this structure though?
it's just a link. You can just slap a link in there.
Oh, I see. We could use curls.
We might.
See, I have those reports going to the, I forget what they call it, folder. They all go to one folder
The
from
bin folder?
It's a bin, yeah, it's pop up.
Yeah, that's what you want.
But it's password protected, so I can't link to those, so they've even gotta get moved from there to, FireNet, which there's no password protection to do this, the way you're talking.
They're user authenticated, you don't need password protection. You just only give the users access that need access.
No, where I download the data from, those files from, you have to have user ID and password to hold it.
Okay.
Or to view it.
Yeah.
You don't have to focus on that.
Now this is good conversation, because like this is the same kind of things that Denver's governor run into.
Yeah, I mean, on some level, you know, we're being mandated to do this through security. I mean, that's a big driver of this, and so, you know, it may is not the right word. It will change how we do business, inevitably. It can't not. And so, I certainly understand the issue, you know, I mean, southern area does 400 plus uploads a day. You know, the weather folks, you know, not to mention the intel folks. But, again, the old system's going away, you know, and we're gonna have to adapt and improvise and find a way to make this tool meet our needs. And that may be part of the innovation where we need to find a few more dollars to find a way to help facilitate the business needs of, you know, our community. But, you know, I don't know that we're gonna get the perfect answer here today to that question.
Could you do the FTP side? Because there is public and private now settings on the FTP side.
And then find out the appropriate place for that.
I think I'd rather go the FireNet route than the FTP site.
Yeah.
Just because the FTP site, the upload, you know, you have to do WinSCP or whatever to do the upload download thing. It's kind of a pain.
Map access.
I think for most of us, it's not that big of an issue, but for, like, say, people with a large number of products, it's that method that we're talking about. I mean, it's not a critique, it's just the fact that it would be tedious. I mean, it would take an hour.
Yep.
It's not about not, I don't mind going away from curl.
Right.
I just wanna find the processes will work right. And
And be efficient. Like curl's
This
efficient,
is-
but
this is-
insecure.
this is not-
How different is using curl than going into dreaming or anything, you know, that? How is curl, I'm
I
as
gotta
a,
hit my space bar.
I know. You know what I'm asking,
Yeah.
like, why is curl, it's just a rookie question, why is curl in?
Basically anything that does batch type things, like automatic goes with viruses and all kinds of stuff. And when you're doing mass uploads, it's really easy to disseminate bad things very quickly.
Well, and again, we had those profiles go corrupt in the geographic area before.
Or they mean like inoperable or
Yes.
corrupt?
Well,
I mean, there's two
inoperable.
different things.
What, are they, are all of,
You know what I mean? Yeah, whatever. You can't use like
limit your own window?
Well, try it later. Do you remember where you came through?
Brent, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been searching around and there isn't any perfect solution to that. As far as because I mean, you could use curl to do some stuff, but I mean, again, like you kind of brought up it's a security issue. Also, it's like it's kind of like we're not using the tool for what it's for. Like we're kind of pounding that square peg in a round hole where we're going back to what it was, and we need to go forward and kind of create the convention and all this, and really it is unfortunate. We need to find another way of that problem to be solved, and that's great to bring up, but I don't think I don't know if curl is the right way, but there might be other ways to go about solving that. But this is why we're meeting. To bring up these challenges of updating 50 different PDFs, and that's it's not new PDFs. You're saying updating existing PDFs. That's yeah.
For now, we can't be the first people in the world to be faced with this issue.
No, I would not say that is the case at all.
But, I mean, the issue here today is, we're at the end of the contract period, the end of the contract
Yeah,
dollars.
I mean,
We cannot afford at this point to have Brent look into this because we've already identified enough work for him to get done for us in the next week and a half when the money really does run out. So, I mean, I think we need to document that this issue's come up, and we need to, in the future, find a solution to it. But, to spend a lot of time today on it, really isn't gonna buy us anything.
Well, as long as we're documenting it, I think it's important that we acknowledge the fact that this is going to significantly impact the workload.
Absolutely.
And therefore, the customers in the field,
Absolutely.
the coordinating group people that are looking at this daily when they're not getting their reports by 9 a.m.,
Yep.
if with the shortage of dollars we have right now, if we're gonna mandate and go forth with this, it's gonna need to have that acknowledgement from top level that it's gonna impact workload across all geographic regions.
Yeah, that's fact. And again, this wasn't a choice that we made. This was a dictate, thou shalt, or we'll have no web presence whatsoever. So, yeah, this is the best solution we could find for the dollars that were made available to us. And there are certainly going to be impacts to the products and what we can put forth to our customers. That's just reality. And again, if those customers would like to see the old ways or a more robust program out of the geographic areas, Nick, or the local center, then they will need to invest the funds appropriately so that we can do that. It's not the answer you want, Pam, but that's the reality of the situation we have today.
Oh, the reality is what's biting me. The reality of the funds and the reality of those who dictate the mandate, did they actually realize that it meant certain products would not be available to them at the usual time frame?
Those were not the people who were dictating. Again, security drove this bus. We got hacked, we got shut down last year. Here we are today.
So how much do you think more do you think it would cost to complete it?
Brent?
This would be beyond. This would be a developer's. I'm front end. a lot of these other tasks would be related to front end, but this would be a back end developer's task. So I'd have to ask Sean. So I wouldn't be able to give you an idea of. But I mean, you guys feel free, use Google. If you guys find something that relates to solving this issue, please send it our way. But I've been doing some searching, and there isn't anything that's like very clear on like a method that we can bulk upload and replace existing files easily. Like bulk upload just creates new files. It never updates existing files, and that's how it was built, and never had a purpose to update existing files. Also, there's the whole concept of like these aren't media are references and not files. Like we're updating references, not files. Like there's these containers, and that's what we're using media for, so we can do these like, hey, you can link to this and not have a broken link. If we were going down to the bare level of just a file, we wouldn't have that capability, and so we lose some advantages over that, and we don't have the ability to have like that media browser, and the whole reason to have that media reference and media feature even enabled, to me, I see a huge benefit, because you can share content between pages or cards, where if you were using just files, you wouldn't be able to do that. But yeah, if you guys want to search Google as well, like, we'll be searching too, and it's on the list, and I marked it. This is a big question, how to batch, curl, automate, update, and replace existing media files. It's going to be a pretty decent challenge. Not to say that someone hasn't encountered it, but it doesn't mean that that's easily, readily accessible for us to be able just to implement. If that was the case, then I think that feature would already be baked in. So that's kind of one of the things. Like if this was simple and easy, this would be already a feature in this module already. So, and I don't, it's not in there.
And Ross emails reports, because a Ross report's not really something John Q. Public looks at, and on my site I might have one Ross report, and the other of the 10 Ross reports I run, I just condense into 2 reports and post them on my webpage. So, there's workarounds.
We have the ability through FireNet to make some of the documents in FireNet completely public, right? Like
Yeah.
completely transparent. So you could in theory, every day, push them up to a FireNet drive, and then your web page would link to your FireNet drive, and so you could still push them in mass
A curl
up to
script would
FireNet.
probably still work with FireNet.
And so
Because it's secure, right?
I would think so.
and FireNet provides like a
It's just the
dynamic
process
URL.
that puts it into the whole
What
site.
is FireNet?
FireNet's just a Google Drive.
Is it?
Google
Oh,
Drive
okay.
business.
Like Dropbox or whatever. Yeah. But it creates that dynamic URL that you can reference that never changes as well. So that could be a link.
That might work. I mean, in your particular circumstance, in place you could throw things and not have to edit the web page. So you essentially wouldn't edit the web page. Your links would exist on the web. I have a feeling that's
We're
gonna
about all
fill that
that
people
one
in
next
the
week.
next couple of weeks.
Does Ryan have the template sites?
I'm gonna be talking with him in about like 10 minutes to see if he has it ready.
Request. I think you're gonna be well
It's actually pretty exciting that we get learn all this. Now we get to really
I mean, 'cause really,
look at
the curl script
template
process
sites.
was.
Yeah, get it going.
Right.
Just speed up
I
the
mean,
workflow.
it's gonna change, but
I mean,
we'll do what we can.
So we're not gonna be able to access our servers anymore, like we now have on empty.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't believe anyone will have access to the servers except for Sean. You'll be able to log in, manipulate your content, and that's it.
But you won't be able to see stuff that's actually sitting on.
Code.
Which is absolutely not a security, like that's not secure whatsoever. Being able to touch code at any level other than like a high level at like Ryan is not secure. Because it only takes one line of code to totally destroy your site.
And this won't be on the Forest Service server anymore either. It's not gonna be on the same place GACC.gov is. So that's gonna disappear.
So yeah, no one will have direct access to the server, out to IT professionals, i.e. the Ryans of the world.
Didn't kick me out this time. Almost there.
That being said, the code will be on the NOC server at DOI or wherever. All the code for our websites will be available for folks to go grab on their own and download onto their private drive and play with it, manipulate it, try and, design it to what you want. But none of that will get back onto the government server without an appeal to the change board saying, I've downloaded the code, I've made some robust improvements in my mind that, I'd like to add to the Southern Area webpage. That proposal would go to the change board. We've taken the time, we've invested some money, some dollars to stand up this module that we think the Southern Area really would like to see. Please, take this to the programmers where they can, in a test environment, mesh that with the current code, make sure there are no conflicts, it doesn't hurt anything, it doesn't blow anything up. If it's deemed safe, functional, then the change board would say, okay, great, stand it up to the Southern Area. Northern Rockies sees it 2 days later, hey, that's cool, I want it. It can ripple through the system that way. Southern Area investment has now benefited the entire community. That is the only, you will have access to the code.
So
You will just not have access to the live code on the government server.
Little videos or
strips,
If that
these
helps.
they're, well,
yeah, the little JavaScript things. Yeah.
they're little, I think, BMPs maybe.
So those are images.
Create them every day and then upload them. So we just call it rollover.
Yeah.
And then we also have here,
And
images every day.
I think that map that is going to be on the homepage, Ryan has like a standardized dynamic map that he's going to be having every GAC use. That's going to have data like accessible. I don't know like how close it is to that, but it's going to have like, it's going to be dynamic and going to have data kind of like not like a leaflet or arc map or whatever. It's going to be something like that. That's going to have layers, so you should be able to put in content like that. But
I guess worst comes to worst, we could just have all 7 of these in a
yeah,
row.
if you wanted to,
I mean,
yeah,
if we can't figure out.
yeah.
or
But I
until
think your the iframed map on the homepage should have data that you're looking for. I'm assuming, because I'm not familiar with what all this means, but I'm assuming Ryan would provide you guys the map on the homepage that would accomplish what you've been doing in the past.
Show them the fuel stuff too, just the little drop down.
Yeah, like
These get used a lot on our page.
so we have these, the fuels maps, and then
It's basically like a drop down that takes you to whatever.
And so that's what's been replaced. Cards have replaced those drop downs. So that's what, like, we've seen a couple GACs.
Links to
Yep.
this document.
Yeah, exactly. Or the images, if you want to, you can kind of put them as images and then link to the big version of the image if you wanted to.
these are,
I mean, you can even have pages that have them embedded and make them
So
big.
we'll come back a quarter after.